It must have been odd for Brett Myers to walk into Citizens Bank Park today and go to the other locker room. Just it was probably odd for Roy Oswalt to see his former team in town. Now, Oswalt will not pitch against the Astros this week, but Brett Myers will be part of a handful of guys who have ties to the Phillies organization. It includes former general manager Ed Wade and former bench coach Brad Mills, who is now the skipper of the Astros. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. Gary Matthews will be along in just a little bit. Well, 2 times this week, it's going to be odd for the other team's starting pitcher. Most notably, Jay Happ and Brett Myers. Myers goes tonight, and he had a lot of success in this ballpark as a member of the Phillies.
Oh, he did, Tom. It should be fun to watch Brett Myers here tonight. You know, he's going to be amped up, and we'll see what he's able to do against his old teammates. A lot of these guys played with Brett Myers. Back in his major league debut, it was on a gorgeous afternoon at Wrigley Field back in 2002. He was matched up against Mark Pryor in that game, another tremendous young pitcher who basically is out of professional baseball. Brett, of course, still going strong. Showed his fastball, curveball, a little bit of a changeup that day. Basically, at that time, he was a 2-pitch pitcher, and he pitched a great game, won it. Larry Bowa was his skipper at the time, and Brett Myers got his major league career off to a real good start. And then let's flash back to September 30th, 2007. A knee lock and curveball right there. He was a closer at that time, and the Phillies were off the postseason for the first time in a long, long time, as Brett Myers then went into the crowd to celebrate. And one thing about him is he always had a lot of fun. Back where it all began, his career with the Phillies, a #1 pick, 12th overall in 1999. 21 saves. He had 240 games here and started 183 of them. Yeah, it should be fun here tonight to see what happens. You know, Charlie was talking before the game. He'll needle him when he comes up because, you know, Myers loves to hit. And, you know, we'll see if Brett's playing to the bench a little bit because he likes to have fun out there.
27 wins for Brett Myers here at Citizens Bank Park in his career as a Philadelphia Philly right-hander. Well, now it's a new career as a right-hander for the Houston Astros. The grounds crew getting the field ready for tonight's ball game. Brett Myers for the Astros. Joe Blanton on the hill for the Phillies, making his 21st start. Well, last year when the Astros were in town, they were celebrating here in Philadelphia. The final bat off the bat of Lance Berkman to send the Phils to the postseason. We'll be back with the lineups and the first pitch after this. Phillies. For the first of a 4-game series, the Phillies with 70 wins and one of 2 teams in the National League East with 70 victories and one of 4 teams in the National League that have already reached that plateau. Let's take a look at the Astros lineup that's brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Leading it off at center field, Michael Bourne. Angel Sanchez, the shortstop, bats second. Hunter Pence hits third, followed by Carlos Lee, the left fielder. Chris Johnson's over at third base. He'll bat fifth. Brett Wallace is at first. He'll hit sixth. Humberto Quintero, the catcher, bats seventh. Anderson Hernandez bats eighth, and hitting ninth and pitching, of course, is Brett Myers. And they will face right-hander Joe Blanton, making his 21st start of the year, 5-6 with a 5.54 ERA. And Wheels, it's been a lot about the first inning for Joe Blanton this year, and really his success afterwards.
14 earned run average in 9 starts in that first inning. So, that's one of those things that, trying to get past it, keep his fastball down. Against the Houston Astros, hasn't faced them a whole lot, just 2 times, and he's been pitching 6 or more innings, a lot like Brett Myers. Myers has also been doing that, 6-7 innings in a game, and that can get you deep into the game, into your bullpen.
Well, the good news for Blanton is that the Phillies have averaged nearly 6 runs per game during his outings, which is the 8th highest run support in the National League. And the first pitch to Michael Bourne, taken outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes.
The east-northeaster blew in here about 4 o'clock, and that means the wind is really blowing hard to left field right now.
Well, that ball went to left field, but not too deep. It turns out to be a base hit for Michael Bourne,
who leads the league in stolen bases. So he gets on, it's almost like a double.
40 steals for Bourne. He's been caught 10 times. Catching up with Ryan Howard over at first. Here's Angel Sanchez. Astros got Sanchez from the Boston Red Sox. And there goes Bourne. He's off and running. The first pitch, a strike. The throw to second, not in time. And Bourne stays on the bag. 41 steals for Michael Bourne.
That didn't take long. It's like a double when he gets on. Sometimes you can hold him on. He's not going to steal every single time, but pretty close to it. And when he goes, he makes it a lot. He got a great jump there. Blanton didn't throw over. He read it and steals the bag easily. And Blanton in first inning trouble again.
1-1 the count to Sanchez. Sanchez overall hitting .280, no homers and 17 runs batted in.
A lot of base runners in this homestand in the first inning for the opposition. Now some of the Phillies pitchers have not been scored on, but there haven't been 1, 2, 3s, that's for sure.
Yeah, they've thrown a lot of pitches on average in the first inning of games on this homestand, but the Phillies are 4-2 on the homestand.
And it's been hot too. And tonight, the weather is not going to wear a pitcher down because it really is cool here tonight. And as I mentioned, the wind is blowing a ton to left and left center. You want to keep the ball out of the air in that direction if you're a pitcher. If you're a hitter, you'll be looking to fire one up into that stuff tonight.
Folks have their ponchos, their caps, their umbrellas all around the ballpark. And it's 3-2 to Sanchez. Even with all the changes the Astros have made, they are playing better baseball now than at any point during the season.
Phillies have caught the Astros a lot of times in this ballpark at the wrong time. They're one of only 2 teams that holds a winning record against the Phillies here in this ballpark. And the Astros have played very well here. There's Brad Mills. This is the first game he's managed here. He certainly was in the other dugout a lot.
See the record for the Astros, 12-7 here at Citizens Bank Park. Braves 1 game over 500. The Marlins 1 game under 500.
Sanchez doing a nice job at trying to get him over. Hunter Pence, we showed him on deck. He is really hot, and he kills the Phillies, but overall he's very hot.
Opposite way, over the head of Utley into right field. Bobbled by Worth, boards to third. He is being held there as the throw comes in. Sanchez holds up at first. And the Astros have runners on first and third. Ball skipped on Jason Worth.
I'll give you an idea what could happen in that outfield right now because it's wet. And nice job by Sanchez there. Sometimes you keep working, you get more out of it than he's ready to give himself up, and he winds up to get a hit. And here's our keys to the game. Well, we'll see how amped up Brett Myers is tonight. We'll also see how many runs he has to work with, the way the first inning's going. And continued success for the Phillies against the National League Central. They've been good against.
It's the end of the model year, and Nissan's laying it all on the line. Nissan's bottom line sales event going on now. Well, nobody out. Runners on first and third. Hunter Pence is the batter. And Pence hits it to straightaway center field. Victorino going back. Bourne tags from third. He'll score. And Sanchez goes back to first. It's 1-0 Houston. A sac fly for Hunter Pence.
I'm surprised that Sanchez didn't go back and tag up at first base with the way Victorino had to retreat for that ball, because it seemed pretty obvious that he was going to catch that ball fading away. And maybe they're talking about that right now, that you want to, on a ball like that, read the outfielder and come back and actually tag up at first.
So a break for the Phillies. They could set up a double play depth with Carlos Lee at the plate. He takes a fastball for a strike.
Right. It keeps a double play in order for the Phillies, and also it keeps another runner out of scoring position.
Lee will generally make contact. He's one of the toughest hitters to strike out in the National League. In fact, he's the third toughest to strike out in the National League. He's been a pretty productive hitter for Houston since they signed him as a free agent.
El Caballo, as they call him, the horse.
Way upstairs. Good play by Ruiz, and it's 1-2.
He and Carlos Ruiz, two of the few major league players who are from Panama. And you can see the Astros career leaders. Jeff Bagwell is now one of their coaches.
Toward right center field, on the run, Victorino. He's not going to get there. It splits the gap, and it goes to the warning track. Sanchez is being waved home. Utley has the cutoff throw, and he sails it toward the plate, and he is out at the plate. How about that? What a play by Ruiz to Deacom, and what a throw by Chase Utley.
Well, we know Sanchez doesn't run real well either after watching that whole scenario. Great job by the Phillies, and it's amazing he doesn't score. Good job by Shane. Look how quickly he gets it back to Chase. Utley makes the throw on the fly. As Tom said, Ruiz is just kind of hanging around down there. Blocked the plate. Throw is right up the line a little bit, and he blocks him off the plate, tags him out. I think there was a chance in the world they were going to get him at home plate.
That's a heck of a play all the way around. Yep. Utley to Ruiz off the throw from Victorino.
Dave Clark, I think he had a gimme over there at third base. And Shane did a great job too, of just catching it and turning around and firing it and hitting the cutoff man. No wasted effort.
Here's Chris Johnson, and it's 1-1 to Johnson. Johnson's having a good year. Third best batting average among rookies at .337. He's hitting .370 since the All-Star break. He slices that pitch down the right field line. On the run, Jason Worth. He's getting there, and he makes the grab as he slides into foul territory. That was a fair ball when he made the catch. He just saved a run, just like Victorino and Utley saved a run on the previous play. Joe Blanton allows a run here at the top of the first, but he watched some really good defense by his teammates to help him out. Phillies trail at 1-0 as they get set to bat for the first time against the Astros. Their lineup's brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Leading it off at shortstop, Jimmy Rollins. Then Shane Victorino and Chase Utley. The cleanup batter is Ryan Howard. Jason Worth bats 5th. Raul Ibanez, the left fielder, hits 6th. Carlos Ruiz bats 7th. Then Wilson Valdez playing third base tonight. He'll hit 8th. And batting 9th and pitching is Blanton. And they'll face former Philly right-hander Brett Myers, making his 26th start of the year. He's got at least 6 innings in all 25 outings this season.
About 171 innings for him. That's very impressive, and his walk-strikeout ratio is really good.
Only a few Phillies have faced him because of his career with the Phils, and he delivers a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-1.
Southwest Airlines scouting report. He'll throw sinker, cutter, tailing fastball at that velocity, also curve, change-up slider. He just signed a 3-year contract extension, 2 years, and then a vesting option for the 3rd year, and we don't know what that is, but you know, that'll a lot of times with a starting pitcher involves innings pitched, starts, those kind of things. If you accumulate them, then your contract vests automatically for the following year.
Well, Brett just turned 30 years old, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike to J-Roll. Just turned 30 years old, and he's 11 games over 500 in his major league career.
What a great job, as you said, Tom, by the Phillies defense. That had 3-4 runs written all over that inning.
Yeah, the play by Victorino, Utley, and Ruiz, and then that was a heck of a play by Jason Worth to finish up the inning.
The wind blew that ball back. That ball looked like it was headed foul, and it came back fair, and he made a great catch.
Jimmy hits it hard, right side, diving stop by Brett Wallace, flips to Myers covering, and what a way. Brett Wallace has a connection to the Phillies because in the deal that brought Roy Oswalt to Philadelphia, Anthony Gose, who went to Houston in that deal, was then sent on to Toronto for Brett Wallace. And he was one of the A's bright prospects, but he was traded from the A's to the Blue Jays for Michael Taylor after Taylor went to the Jays for Roy Halladay.
Yeah, the Phillies have been very involved in Brett Wallace's short career.
Yep. Here's Victorino, and the first pitch is a strike to Shane.
Michael Taylor is the guy who was a minor Paul Owens Award winner last year, and he's a guy that, you know, a lot of teams wanted, and they also wanted Dominic Brown. The Phillies would not trade Brown.
The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Riva Palillo of Atco, New Jersey. If the Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, then Riva will win $100.
Always funny when you see a guy in the other uni for so long. I'm sure they'd feel that way about Oswalt, like you were talking about in the opening, when they saw him walking around out there before the game in a Phillies uniform.
Particularly a guy that's homegrown, as that one is sliced down the left field line, and it's a foul ball.
Now, we saw Brett in spring training. He pitched a game in Clearwater, so you know he has pitched against the Phillies, but he did not pitch in that first series when we were down there early in the year.
Earlier tonight, Roy Oswalt and Brett Myers caught up as Oswalt was throwing with Roy Halladay in the outfield. Of course, they were teammates for part of this season.
No telling what that was about.
Not sure if he was doing a wrestling count or if he was impersonating a batter. 1-2 the count to Victorino. And he fouls it back.
Brett has hit just one batter in 171 innings this year. So, you know, he's had, I mentioned the walk strikeout ratio is good, and his command has been very good. And watching, there is his number. There are his numbers. Of course, he was a relief pitcher here for a while with 21 saves. He's hitting the corners a lot. And there he comes inside to Shane, who just whacked the catcher on Humberto Quintero with a bat. Rang his bell a little bit. Thankfully, he's okay with all that stuff he's wearing. Watch this. Poink.
That's happened a few times in this homestand.
Yeah, guys let go of it a little bit, you know, and then come back with that one hand like that.
And a meeting at the mound between Quintero and Myers. During the 2010 season, Turkey Hill will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. 1-2 the count to Victorino. He's fouled off a few pitches in this at-bat. And inside and low, 2-2.
And the only guy that wasn't here in this lineup, of course, is Valdez for Brett Myers. So that, you know, he's facing a lineup full of ex-teammates.
Strangely, Victorino now has 3 official at-bats against Myers. I guess when he was playing for San Diego or Los Angeles. He just chopped that one to Anderson Hernandez, so they're 2 away. So 2 outs here at the bottom of the first, and that'll bring Chase Utley to the plate.
And Brett Myers, who came up in his younger days as a power pitcher, is not a power pitcher anymore. You know, he started to get away from that. You can see when he was here. So he's really learned to use off-speed pitches, getting out, got an out on a changeup there, uses his slider, cutter a lot. Of course, he still has a very good curveball, and he hasn't thrown that yet. He's used his changeup in this inning, and he more or less spots his fastball.
Chase on the homestand is 4 for 18. Those are his numbers since coming off the disabled list.
And there's one of those spot fastballs I was just talking about. 89 away, and you know, close to a strike, but certainly not anywhere near the middle of the plate where you could get hurt with it. It's another one.
Well, it's 2-0.
He got hurt with fastball so much when he was with the Phillies. You know, he was stubborn. He was so stubborn and would pitch trying to throw fastballs by major league hitters without the velocity that he once had, and he threw a lot of home run balls for that reason.
He's only allowed 14 homers this year.
When you talk about spot your fastball, what you're trying to do is hit spots with it and stay away from the middle of the plate, because you're not going to be able to challenge hitters with a fastball, but you can use it to set up your other pitches, and that's just watching him on tape before the game and watching him right now. That's what he is. Chase all fastballs.
See, Brett is tied for second in wins here at Citizens Bank Park, tied with Jamie Moyer. Cole Hamels leads the way with 31. Ryan Matson from his years as a starter at 22 and as a reliever. And Chase whacks it foul past Davey Lopes.
Well, Utley's watching the way he pitched the first 2 hitters. There's Jamie Moyer, and he's gotten 5 fastballs. So Myers has gone totally away from his off-speed stuff with Utley to this point.
Trying to get one on the outside part of the plate, and it's 3-2. It was a slider from Brett Myers.
He tried to backdoor him there with a little backdoor breaking ball.
There's Ryan Howard waiting on deck. And a call, strike 3. He got him with that same breaking pitch, this time toward the heart of the plate. And Myers retires the Phillies in order here at the bottom of the first. So the first strikeout of the night for Brett Myers finishes up the bottom of the first, a 1-2-3 inning. It's 1-0 Astros. leads it off for the Astros, and he takes a pitch down low from Joe Blanton. Ball was hitting just 203, no homers and 5 RBIs. This is a kid who had 18 home runs and 61 RBIs at AAA when he was acquired by the Astros. He was acquired by the Astros from the Blue Jays, and then right after that they traded Lance Berkman to the Yankees. So they basically opened up first base for him.
Well, he's been a minor league hitting phenom. You know, one of those guys that everybody says, well, he's going to be a big-time major league hitter. Well, he's going to get a chance.
He won the Triple Crown when he was at Arizona State. He's a pretty good player. And again, the A's traded him to the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays traded him on to the Astros. 2-2 the count to him. (23 years old). Originally drafted by the Cardinals. On the hands, Squibber toward third, but that ball was spinning away from Valdez. A low throw dug out by Howard. Listen, Valdez hasn't played a whole lot of third base this year, and he acknowledges Ryan Howard, who made a very nice play to help him out on that.
He had a lot of trouble catching that ball first, as Tom said. Look at that thing spinning. Left-handed hitter gets jammed like that, and then he fires it straight into the ground. That's really a tough play. Good job by Ryan Howard on the other end. There it is, spinning away from him. He did everything right there, except he threw it low, and his first baseman saved him. Nothing wrong with Placido Polanco, from what we're told. They're just getting a game off.
Yeah, Charlie gave Chase Utley the day off yesterday, so he gives Polanco the day off today.
And, you know, they have a lot of confidence in Valdez to be able to throw him out there at any position.
Here's Quintero, and the count is no balls and 1 strike to Quintero. Gannon on the hands, and he fouls it back. It's 0-2. The Astros have been, as we said, a better team lately. In fact, since the 1st of June, they're 37-35. 2 games over 500. That's pretty good, considering all the trades they've made. They've also scored a lot of runs. And a call, strike 3. 2 outs, first strikeout for Blanton. They're 6th in the league in runs per game since the All-Star break at 4.75.
Joe Blanton throwing a lot of fastballs to Quintero, and there's another one. And what he was looking for there, that baby is right down the middle. There's Brad Mills, a really good baseball man. You know, we were around him for a long time, and a guy you looked at and thought he's going to manage in the big league someday if he gets a chance. And he has his chance now, and trying to develop a young team. And the guy just gets it. He knows how to handle today's game. You know, he understands computers and all the things you have to do. The young managers. Now, the older ones, they're not going to get involved in all that stuff.
1-1 the count to Hernandez.
I don't think Bobby Cox and Joe Torre and Charlie are going to spend a lot of time with that, but they absolutely go over the reports that you can get nowadays, and it helps them. But Brad Mills comes from that background. He was here, and we'd started to do a lot of stuff around here. And then, of course, he went to Boston, and they're space age.
Yeah, they're techno savvy.
Oh, man.
1-2 the count to Anderson Hernandez. And a call, strike 3. Good pitch by Blanton. A changeup that came right back over the plate. Back-to-back strikeouts for Blanton. He settled in, has retired the side in order here at the top of the second. So we go to the bottom of the second. Ryan Howard, Jason Worth, and Raul Ibanez do up. With MLB.com at Bat 2010, featuring play-by-play video highlights and live audio broadcasts. Visit Phillies.com today on your iPhone, iPod Touch, Android, or BlackBerry for more details. Last of the second, Jason Michaels, another former Phil, in the Astros dugout.
And they're one less after the deal for Pedro Feliz, who's gone now to the Cardinals.
Yeah, Pedro's playing third base every day for the Cards. There's Nelson Figueroa, who was with the Phillies earlier this year. And Jay Happ, who will start on Wednesday for the Astros. This is probably oddest for him because he was with the team this year. I mean, Figueroa was also, but for Jay, who came up through the organization, that was a tough one. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Ryan Howard to start the bottom of the second.
They don't have the total shift on for Ryan Howard. You don't see this very often. The shortstop, Sanchez, near second base, but not on the right field side.
And there's Ed Wade, general manager of the Astros, former Phillies GM. Get a chance to come back home. And a swing and a miss, and Ryan's down on strikes. That was the curveball from Brett Myers. Second strikeout for Brett, and 1 away. Well, Tuesday night, the two key members returning to the Eagles, quarterback Asante Samuels and starting strong safety Quentin Michael. They discussed their roles on this revamped team and what lies ahead for their squad as they head into 2010 with Kevin Cobb at the helm. Don't miss Meet the Eagles Tuesday at 11, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Here's Jason Worth. Jason has 6 career at-bats against Brett Myers, but they were a few years ago. He is 1 for 6 against Brett. And just 4 for 19 on the homestand.
Amazing watching him right now, how different he is. How the light has gone on. You know, can't throw your fastball by hitter, so let's try and do some other things. And he is. He's controlling his other pitches, and he looks like a pitcher and not a thrower. Sometimes it takes a while.
I would think for any pitcher who, threw hard at one point and then has to figure it out a different way. I mean, a lot of it has to do with ego, because even if you can't throw as hard as you used to, you still think you can.
Yeah, and boy, they'll let you know up here you can't. Now you can get by. His fastball's fine if you spot it and you use your other pitches as well as he is, at least early in this game, and he must be all year to have the numbers that he has and the number of innings that he's putting up. I mean, that's not a fluke.
Well, Brett is 3-1 with a 2.26 ERA in his last 9 starts.
Pitching ahead of hitters, not to Jason right now.
And a swing and a miss, and that's the 3rd straight strikeout for Myers. And there are 2 outs.
That was only 89, but it was in a good spot. And Worth pulled off a little bit. Watch where it is. It's not in the middle of the plate. It starts to come back a little bit, but by the time it crosses home plate, it's still out away a little bit on its way back. And he pulled off and he didn't get to it.
Now here's Raul, hitting .263 overall with 12 homers and 62 RBIs, and he's behind 0-1. Raul, in the 6 games on this homestand, has driven in 4 and has scored 3 runs.
Just painted. Fastball and a changeup. Who is this guy?
Brett was part of the 2008 World Championship for the Phillies. Part of the divisional championship last year, the pennant win last year, and was out on the mound when the Phillies clinched the National League East title a couple of years ago. Chris Coast behind the plate, and it was his breaking ball that set off an amazing celebration that really hasn't ended for this ball club.
Yeah, and they've been on a pretty good roll. They want to keep it going.
on the inside corner. Myers has just struck out the side. 4 consecutive strikeouts for Myers. 1, 2, 3 go the Phils here in the second. We go to the third. It's 1-0 Houston.
Sign from Chris Coast. Curveball struck him out. The Phillies are National League East champions. Look at the scene on the field. Look at the scene on the stands. This is incredible. The Phillies are National League East champions.
Citizens Bank Park. Phillies trail at 1-0. Brett Myers leads it off against Joe Blanton. Myers this year hitting $188, 9 hits and 48 at bats, and he hits one right back to the box. And Blanton goes halfway to the bag and then flips over to first, one away. And joining us from way out in the bullpen is Phillies bullpen coach Mick Billmeyer. Mickey, we appreciate you joining us. And well, Joe looks like he's settling down after that first inning.
Oh yeah, he's fine. Sometimes he just seems like he can't. If he gets out of that first inning, he's fine. He just gets some balls up in the zone, makes a mistake, and if they bloop a ball on him or something, there's a little luck involved too. But it's just a bad stretch right now.
Hey, Mick, you're an expert on Brett Myers. You know, you've been around him so much, and you know you were one of his shrinks in a lot of ways. What are you seeing from him out there tonight?
Well, Wheels, I tell you, he's a competitor, number one, and he's been waiting for this start for a long time. He's one of those guys. I'm going to prove to you that that I should be here. I mean, that's the way he thinks. You know, he just likes to win. He don't like to be embarrassed out there. And he's going to fight you. He fights you in all aspects of his, just talking to him, everything. But he's a lot of fun that way. He keeps you on your toes. Well, he'll pitch well tonight.
Well, he struck out the side in the second, has 4 consecutive strikeouts. Now Blanton has back-to-back groundouts here for the first 2 outs. Hey, Mick, we were talking the other night about Carlos Ruiz and how well he has done for the ball club. And, you've been with him for a very long time. How exciting is it for you to see what he's done as a catcher?
Well, I'll tell you, it's fun for me to watch, because I remember when we made him a catcher. He was a second baseman. I was in the minor leagues with him, and it took a good while. Then after getting up here, you got to get your feet wet and get comfortable, and he's come so far. It's really some kind of story, But I just had a great compliment from Jamie Quirk, their bullpen coach, came by, and he points to Ruiz, and he said he's one of the best in the league. He said this kid doesn't get enough credit how good he is, And I know how good he is, and we know how good he is, and he's just under the radar. So if he keeps hitting like he is, people are going to know him too well.
Hey, Mick, all you hear about is how guys like to throw to him. What makes a catcher good for a pitcher to throw to?
Well, there's a lot of things. First, you gain their trust, and you got to be right. When you're right enough, they start to believe in you, and they start to commit to it. If you put it down with conviction, they come to you. They will come at you and trust you. So that makes them, put their full effort and their mind into that pitch. A lot of guys, if they're not sure, they'll throw it anyway. And most of the time, when they're not sure, if there's hesitation, they'll leave it in the middle of the plate or hanging somewhere.
Well, Shane Victorino just made that grab. Joe Blanton has settled in. And, Mickey, we appreciate it, buddy. We'll talk to you again down the road.
All right. Take it easy.
All right. Mick Billmeyer from out in the bullpen. Joe Blanton. The Pennsylvania Lottery. Get your game face on. Play the Pennsylvania Lottery's new Philadelphia Eagles instant game. You must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly. Buy Xfinity. It's TV, phone, and internet reinvented from Comcast. And buy your participating Philadelphia area Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDealer.com. Last of the third, the Phillies are still trying to solve Brett Myers. He has retired the first 6 batters that he's faced. He has 4 straight strikeouts.
It's fun talking to Mick because he's such a great guy to talk baseball with. And the inning went kind of fast, but I want to check with him later and see what kind of new lines he may have heard out there while Myers was warming up. I'm sure it was creative.
I'm sure it was. First time that Myers has been in the upstairs bullpen here at Citizens Bank Park.
You know Mick was listening.
He's holding court right now. Everybody had slid away from him. Ruiz sends one in the air deep to left field. That one is gone! Right through the wind, and it carried to the left. Carlos Ruiz, his 6th home run of the season. And Mick Billmeyer and everybody else in this ballpark all smiles.
I just spent some time talking about Carlos Ruiz and what kind of year he's having. And Mick talking about him as a catcher. Brett Myers throws a fastball. It's one of the few fastballs he's got in the middle of the plate, and that wind is howling out to left field tonight. And he got it, and it got up, and it just keeps on going. That's where you want to hit him tonight.
And Riva Palillo of Atco, New Jersey, you've just won $100. Compliments of Carlos Ruiz. And the McDonald's home run jackpot, his first homer since the 5th of August. Phillies haven't hit a whole lot of home runs lately.
And you see Myers missed his spot for one of the first times tonight. And it was in the middle of the plate, and Chooch made him pay for it.
0-1 the count to Wilson Valdez. Wilson had a 2-run single in yesterday's game, and it was a big one. Getting a chance to play third for the 3rd time this year. And it's 1-2. Chopper toward third, and Johnson to his left throws out Valdez. 1 away. Oh, with 1 away, it's time now for the Dodge Stump the Fans trivia question. Log on to Phillies.com, go to the fans section for all the information. And please submit your answer on the subject line. Wills, the question is, in 1965, Harry Kalas joined the Astros broadcast team for their inaugural season. Can you name his 2 broadcast partners? I know you can, because you were out in Texas at that time. Log back on to Phillies.com. Find out if you're the winner later on. We'll reveal the winner in the 7th inning.
1967, I was doing some Army duty in Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio.
Blanton chops one back toward the middle. A base hit into center.
Joe Blanton gets another hit. And being a baseball fan, I couldn't listen to the Phillies, so I used to listen to Houston Astros games. And these two guys used to do most of the game, and then this other guy come in and do one inning all the time. I sat there thinking, that guy's pretty good. Yeah. And so when Bill Giles hired Harry in 1971, I thought, I know him.
So as a Phillies fan, you gave your stamp of approval right away.
Well, that was tough at the time because of with Bill Campbell and Harry and Bill handled that wonderfully over the years. But yeah, I mean, my first reaction was, gee, they hired a heck of a guy. This guy sounds like a great broadcaster.
Jimmy Rollins lines one to left center, a base hit. Blanton's to second. He's rounding second, going to third. Lee bobbles. That enables J-Roll to go to second. And the Phillies have runners on second and third with one away.
How about that base running?
Putting some pressure on him.
He did. He absolutely did. And made Carlos Lee hurry. And he bobbles it, and now Jimmy's able to move into second.
It is a single and an E7 to allow Rollins to go to second.
Here, now watch Joe Blanton. He sees Lee going hard to his left. He figures, I can get to third. And then Carlos Lee kicks it around out there a little bit, and he does, and he allows second base to open up for Jimmy.
Sixth error of the season for Lee, and the infield is back. And Victorino takes a curve for a strike. It's 0-1.
A great chance for a run here because the only infielder in is the third baseman, Johnson. So the middle of the infield is a run.
Toward first, Wallace smothers it, comes to the plate, and they've got Blanton sliding in. And there are 2 outs. And Shane hit it hard, and Wallace did a nice job.
But that's why you're trying to use the middle of the diamond there. That's and Shane, he knows that. He's either trying to hit a fly ball or base hit or hit the ball towards the middle of the diamond. The middle of the diamond, you can even score the pitcher from there. The corners were going to be a problem because they're up. Here it is right here, and he pulls it right at the first baseman, Wallace, and he knows he has a pitcher running, and that's the one thing you don't want to do is have him run into contact. But, he did slide. It was a good slide, and everything's okay.
Well, with 2 outs, Chase Utley is the hitter. Chase struck out looking his first time up. And a breaking ball for strike, and it's 0-1.
Well, Victorino knows that Brett has a really good move to first, but you can run on him if you time it right because he's not the quickest guy to the plate. But his move is good because he has quick feet.
He's always been a pretty good athlete, too. Right. That's part of it. The throw behind Victorino. Quintero's got to be careful that that throw didn't sail. Toward the middle, a base hit into center field. J-Ro's going to score easily. The Phillies take the lead. An RBI single for Chase. It's 2-1 Phils.
Nice job to pick up the 2-out run. It looked like a breaking ball, maybe a curveball. And Chase did a really nice job of staying back on that and using the middle of the diamond. Brett Myers had a shot at it. He just couldn't quite catch it. Let's see if it is. Yeah, it's a curveball. Right now, well, you didn't have much of a shot at that. That was smoke.
And now Wallace plays behind Chase over at first with Ryan Howard at the plate. And Ryan hits one the opposite way, foul.
And these guys still do not use an overshift defense on Ryan Howard. They have the second baseman way over in the for him to pull right there. You see where Anderson Hernandez is way over in this area. But they have all this open, which most teams have a fielder right there.
That's a tough pitch right there for Ryan. He's saying that's not a strike. It was a slider inside. Ooh. Ryan doesn't usually get heated. He's getting heated a little bit, but he's also smiling. Scott Barry's the home plate umpire. Greg Gibson's at first. Brian Knight is at second. Sam Holbrook is the crew chief over at third.
knocked this one off. What? Ankle. Right off the shin near the ankle.
He landed on that sore ankle.
Yeah. Showing that he's okay.
We forgot about it.
Yeah. Well, that's what we have to do, and they have to do.
0-2 the count to Howard. And a swing and a miss, and he's down on strikes. Phillies do get a couple runs in the inning. A home run by Carlos Ruiz started the scoring. A base hit by Chase Utley topped it off. Carlos Ruiz has had a heck of a 2010. Injuries and all, his offense has come to life, and it continues to come to life here at Philly. Hey, nothing goes better with baseball than a fresh cup of coffee. Here at the Phillies, we enjoy Green Mountain K-Cup coffee, brewed fresh every cup and delivered by W.B. Mason. For a great cup of coffee on a cool night, who but W.B. Mason? Top of the fourth, Gary Matthews settles in. Joe Blanton has settled in. And Hunter Pence leads it off for the Astros. Pence had a sac fly his first time up. That's the only run for Houston. And a chopper off the plate. Valdez will have a tough play if this stays fair. It goes foul. And it's 0-2. All the trades the Astros have made. Berkman to the Yankees. Roy Oswalt here to Philadelphia. Miguel Tejada out to San Diego. What's left is a foundation of basically Hunter Pence, Carlos Lee, and Michael Bourne, and some youngsters.
Without a doubt, they're in a rebuilding situation.
Swing and a miss, and Pence is down on strikes. Third strikeout for Blanton.
Well, the thing about it, though, they've been rebuilding for a few years. You get rid of those players, that's sending up the white flag, and almost you're surrendering this season for sure.
And looking ahead to 2011.
Yeah, I want to see what some of the other players can do, and then they'll go out and try and make moves to make their club better.
There's Carlos Lee. Is it hard for a player like Carlos Lee, Sarge? I don't know if you've ever been in a position where a team's been rebuilding around you and you're a veteran, but is it hard for a guy like Carlos Lee?
Very difficult, only because he knows he's the main guy, and a lot of times if you don't hit, and especially Hunter Pence, that means the club more than likely will lose.
Over to shortstop, Jimmy rolls to his right, has time because Lee is running, throws high, and Ryan hangs onto the bag. Pays to be tall.
Well, it sure does. Yeah, to give Carlos a little credit there for hustling and running the way that he did.
Oh, 2 away, and you can see more of the Astros Wednesday and Thursday here at the ballpark. Now, I didn't include tomorrow because tomorrow's game's already sold out. Thursday is sold out as well. That's a day game. But tomorrow night, or excuse me, Wednesday night, it's Jay Happ against Roy Halladay here at the park. Get your tickets for Wednesday's ball game by going to Phillies.com.
Now, we always talk about players that come back. They are really trying to pitch their best game or play their best game. Want to let that club know that you made a mistake. Thought Brett, he's been looking pretty good and working on the corners.
Johnson checks his swing. They appeal. He went around, says Greg Gibson, and Johnson just tosses the bat aside, flips the helmet. He better be careful. The side is retired. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Joe Blanton. He has 4 strikeouts on the night. He's retired 10 consecutive batters. Joe Blanton's dealing, and he's dealing with a 1-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th. McDonald's new Angus snack wraps. Everything you love about the Angus burgers in a wrap for just $1.99. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Buy your Quality Plus Ford stores and buy Southwest Airlines. Go to Southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. Bottom of the 4th, and Myers delivers a strike to Jason Worth. The guy on the right is still seething at the guy on the left for the check swing that ended the top of the 4th inning. Chris Johnson's the third baseman for the Astros, and he was stoked at Greg Gibson's call, and he feels like he held up. Looked like he did hold up.
I would have to think so.
And Worth is down on strikes for the 2nd time tonight. Wow. Johnson was jawing with himself, was upset with Greg Gibson during the warm-ups, and he fired a ball over his first baseman's head that went just to the right of the camera well, beyond the first base dugout. I mean, there was a lot of adrenaline flowing there, Sarge.
Yeah, well, you know, you get a little bit angry, especially when your team's not doing well and you get called out on a check swing.
I thought Greg Gibson, showed some restraint as the first base umpire, because he probably could have thrown him out a couple of different times if he wanted to. And the base hit for the Phillies, back through the middle, 5th hit of the night, and the first for Ibanez.
Yeah, I always feel that those umpires, if you make that kind of a call, just go out and walk away and leave. You don't have to stare down the hitter.
Hey, it's never too early to plan for 2011. 2011 season ticket deposits are now being accepted. It's the best way to guarantee seats for next season. Have full season and 5 different partial season plans to choose from. Call 215-463-5000 or go to Phillies.com for more information. Carlos Ruiz homered his last time up. 6 home runs, 35 RBIs, and a .298 batting average.
Well, with them catching Brett all this time, you know he knows his pitches, movement of his pitches. Wasn't really a bad pitch. Looked like a cutter to me, or something going away. Got that foot down, and he's been doing that quite a bit. Carlos Ruiz getting that foot down, making solid contact.
Worked it away again, and he fouled it off this time. 1-2.
Got a lot of confidence he's been throwing with his pitches. Record won't indicate that.
Over toward the hole. Sanchez off balance throw to second for 1. That's all they'll get. And there are 2 outs. 6-4 on the put out at second. And that'll bring Wilson Valdez to the plate. Well, Sarge, Wheels was talking before about Brett understanding now the proper way to pitch, how to be a pitcher, not just a thrower. And I guess the light does go on for guys at different times and different points of their career.
Well, Brett always thought that he could get where he could throw the ball by a lot of the hitters. And remember pitching here, and that crowd gets a little bit loud. He was throwing the ball even harder with a swinging bunt.
No chance to get Valdez. Good play by Wallace to keep that from going up the right field line. Because that might have been, well, at least would have put 2 runners in scoring position for the Phillies, not just 1.
Yeah, he got a little lucky on that as he turned and spun and threw the ball. No, that's a play. Unless you really know it's a slow runner, you want to just go on and eat that ball. Only bad things can happen. Well, he did get it over there in the vicinity there, Wallace. Here it is again. Swinging bunt. That's what you call that. Swinging, and the ball acts as if it's a bunt. See there, as he throws that ball, could have got away, could have gotten the stands.
Blanton picked up a base hit his first time up, but he takes a strike. It's 0-1. But what you were saying, Sarge, about Brett during points of his career thought he could just throw it right by guys. He's now figured out. I mean, he's always had other pitches.
Right. Really too many. Like 4 pitches, and he would actually try and get all of those pitches there. He has a pretty good curveball, slider, fastball spotting. Good curveball.
There's the curve there, and he gets Blanton on strike. 7 strikeouts through 4 innings for Brett Myers. He strands a couple here in the bottom of the 4th. We've completed our first 4 here in Philadelphia, with the Phillies leading it by 1. A 3-game series between the Phillies and the Milwaukee Brewers. That final game is the IBEW Local 98 Jimmy Rollins T-shirt, free to fans 14 and under. The guys at IBEW Local 98 and gals, they always have some great giveaways that they sponsor here at the ballpark. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Making sure that dressed for the elements tonight. May not have long sleeves on, but the proper Phillies cap. Phillies caps for all ages and sizes here at the ballpark. And Sarge, Raul Ibanez went into second and was dragging his hand along the dirt and then spent some time looking at that hand, wiping off the dirt. And well, you've slid many a time. I'm sure that that doesn't feel good all the time.
No, it sure doesn't. You see, he's just checking his fingers there to see if it's okay. A lot of times you'll have players that will have gloves on that they slide and prevent your hand from getting really injured. But you don't want to drag your hand on the ground. You want them up anyway.
Wallace leads it off, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Wallace grounded out to third his first time up. Not a bad spot.
No, pretty good pitch. Well, for whatever reason, Joe Blanton seems to settle down after that first inning.
Good pitch. Change up that came back over the inside part of the plate. 5 strikeouts for Blanton. And 1 away.
Here's this change up that you're talking about, moving right over the inside part of the plate.
Well, every time the Phillies retire the opposing team in order, and Joe Blanton's done it the last 3 innings. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by the Xfinity Triple Play, your complete lineup for digital TV, high-speed internet, and home phone. With 1 away, here's Quintero, and that's a breaking ball. And he's over the top of.
Wicked. Ball had a lot of break to it. Those are the balls that are difficult to hit. The one that has that really sharp break. The one that kind of just rolled, the hitter has a chance to adjust on it.
I guess when you look at it, there are going to be games where pitchers will give up, I don't know, a run in the 3rd, maybe 2 runs in the 5th. Joe Blanton just seems to give up a couple runs in the 1st.
Well, that ERA will show that, that's for sure. But he does seem to settle down, and for the most part gives his team a chance to win. That's what it's all about for the starting pitchers.
Off the end of the bat, there's a flare to right, and Quintero's aboard with a 1-out single. Well, if you think Joe Blanton's first inning troubles are difficult sometimes for the team to overcome, how about if you were the Baltimore Orioles and Kevin Millwood was on the hill? Kevin Millwood leads the majors in runs in the first inning allowed. 38.
Oh, wow. Wow. Might as well have somebody else pitch that first inning and then come in.
Well, Dave Bush of the Brewers has given up 28 first inning runs. Johan Santana and Chris Narveson of the Brewers, those 2 guys have given up 23 first inning runs. And Joe Blanton is in some good company in the first inning. Justin Verlander has given up 22 first inning runs.
Surprised at that.
Yeah. Well, now you say that, but I'm not as surprised because he's a power pitcher.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm surprised, because he is a power pitcher. He does throw in, has a good breaking ball, as compared to a Joe Blanton that does not throw as hard. But your point being taken that maybe he's not warmed up enough, which I never understood that. Got a floating zone going. That's a pretty good pitch.
Two and two the count to Hernandez.
Well, you're playing with that rebuilding club and a lot of young players. You know, instead of thinking of winning, a lot of times the young players are just glad to be there. just happy to be in the major leagues and starting that particular day.
Toward left field, Ibanez had him played beautifully.
Veteran players who've been in the league for a while, you want to win. And especially like a Carlos Lee, because he's been in the league, he's making really good money, so the only thing he's playing for is to be able to win.
Myers grounded back to Blanton his first time up, and a swing and a miss at the first pitch. That's a slider from Blanton. It's 0-1.
.91. It's a good fastball. Not so much of the velocity, but because of the sink that he had going. He had some good movement on that pitch.
Joe Blanton against Brett Myers. These two guys are good friends when both were wearing Phillies uniforms, both sporting different looks to their goatee. Swing and a miss, a strikeout for Blanton. That's his 6th of the ball game. Pretty good hook. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. We played 4.5. Jimmy Rollins is due to lead it off when we return. With highlights and analysis from tonight's game against Brett Myers and the Astros. And Derek Gunn reports on the latest news from the Eagles at the NovaCare Complex. All this, Sarge, and more tonight at 10 on Toyota Sports Night right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Whole half of the 5th. Phillies lead it 2-1. And the top of the order is due up. And, well, Sarge, the Phillies may be getting closer to having that projected opening day lineup in a ball game in the next day or so. Tonight, Placido Polanco gets the day off. Maybe it's tomorrow where Charlie has the normal guys and everybody.
Well, actually, that would be good to get that regular lineup. However, no matter who they have in there, they need to become a little bit more consistent in hitting the ball, whether or not it's the set lineup or other guys that might play.
As we said, the lineup that you see tonight doesn't include Placido Polanco. Yesterday, Charlie gave Chase Utley the day off. So it seems like we're getting closer to that day. And officially, if you include opening day here at Citizens Bank Park earlier this season, when Jimmy Rollins was in the starting lineup but was injured prior to the game, the Phillies have had their opening day lineup for 7 games. If you don't include that one, it's only 6. But either way, it's 6 or 7.
Well, it hasn't been a lot. A lot of times when you're not playing with that regular lineup there, you just aren't gelling as a team the way that you want. Once they get everybody back feeling good, and especially in the right batting order, they're going to be just fine, and they should be able to get hot before it's all over. We've seen him do that before.
Yeah, think about that. Carlos Ruiz, who has been one of the hotter hitters for the Phillies, once everybody is back intact, with Rollins leading off and Polanco batting second, Carlos is going to be the number 8 hitter.
Yeah, well, and he handles that.
Yep.
No, it doesn't complain about it. A lot of times you'll have guys complain about hitting 8th.
Jimmy skies it short left field. Angel Sanchez, the shortstop, makes the catch. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Cardinals are shutting out the Pirates 4-0 in the bottom of the 4th. Albert Pujols has hit his 33rd home run. He has 8 homers and 22 RBIs in 22 games against the Pirates since the start of last season. Phillies lead the Cardinals and the Giants by 2 games in the wild card. The Giants have a very important series against the Cincinnati Reds that'll begin later on tonight. It'll be Matt Cain against Edinson Volquez, and that game's out in San Francisco. Atlanta, meanwhile, is out in Colorado to take on the Rockies. And Victorino's behind 0-2. In the air to center field. Michael Bourne, Gold Glover last year, takes care of another Gold Glover in Victorino, and there are 2 outs. Well, Brett Myers, 75 pitches with 2 outs here in the 5th, and he's well on his way to pitching 6 innings or more for the 26th consecutive game, which would tie Larry Dierker's franchise record. Dierker did it 69 and 70 for the Astros.
He's a workhorse. I mean, he will be pitching a lot of innings, and he likes the ball. Doesn't like missing his turn. It's got to be difficult to be pitching there in Houston. He's done so well that he's earned himself an extension. Everybody looking for starting pitching.
One and one the count to Chase, who has an RBI single and a strikeout tonight against Myers. Toward first base, good hop for Wallace, and he'll take it to the bag himself. And Utley, hustling all the time, is retired for the final out. 1, 2, 3 go the Phils here at the bottom of the 5th. We've completed our first 5, with the Phillies leading at 2-1. every single person who has been a part of the 100-plus consecutive sellouts at Citizens Bank Park. Since July 7th of last season, the fighting faithful have filled every seat and every available standing room space to support their two-time defending National League champions. It's one thing to be a proud Philadelphia Phillies fan. It's a whole other level to fill up the ballpark every single game. Your loyalty is remarkable, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. We're here for you every step of the way. Oh, back here at Citizens Bank Park, top of the sixth, the sold-out crowd watching the Phils take a 2-1 lead over the Astros. And Michael Bourne leads it off. Bourne's 1 for 2. He scored the run for Houston back in the first. And he bunts toward first, toward his friend Ryan Howard, who can't cut it off in fair territory. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, comparison of the two starters tonight, Sarge, pretty close.
Yeah, they are. You see those strikeouts. Nobody's been walked tonight. And they're pitching pretty quickly. I mean, that's what you like, pitchers, especially when you're on defense. You like that guy to work fast, just keeps you on your toes that much more.
This is like a night of candlestick for you, Sarge.
Oh, this feels good.
Yeah, wind's blowing, a little cooler. And a base hit for Bourne. Well, he ran on the first pitch his last time aboard with a single. Let's see what he does here. He's going to take off his batting gloves and put on his running gloves.
He's a huge part of that offense, meaning that when he does get on, he already has, what, around 41 or so stolen bases.
41, yep.
So you would look for him to run, but I'm surprised, though, that they haven't been throwing over some or holding the ball a little bit. There you go.
Bourne probably figured that Blanton was going to throw over at least one time. I would have to think that Carlos Ruiz and any catcher, this is one of those defensive challenges that he gets up for.
Yeah, and not only that, though, usually the guys will call those fastballs on the outside part of the plate or on the end to back that hitter up.
That pitch was toward the outside part of the plate, a fastball at 86.
Easier to actually get, and you see the ball up a little bit, too. Easier to throw that ball to second base.
You need every advantage you can with Blanton on the hill. Joe's got that little rock in his delivery, so that gives the base runner a little more time. Not a bad pitch there, and it's 1-1.
Well, you time it on that rock, and the fast guys have no problem in getting down to second base. Ruiz well aware that Bourne does want to run, and a lot of times they continue to throw that cutter and the fastball. If he gets a jump and if it's off speed pitch, no chance to get the runner.
Carlos taking a glance over at Pete Buchanan to see if he wants him to throw over. There he goes. Pitch is taken for a strike. The throw to second toward the base path, not in time. So another stolen base for Bourne, his second of the night. And he has 42 stolen bases.
Well, here it is. Watch that little hitch. See that little movement there? He's off and running. Didn't get a great jump, but when he starts running, he's almost in full throttle. Well, that is a great jump there. Almost no chance for Carlos. Look at this. Going into his slide.
And a called strike 3. Got him with a breaking ball, and Sanchez was locked. 7 strikeouts for Blanton.
Good pitch. That freezes him. That's after all those fastballs there with Bourne on second base. Still got to keep your eye on him because he might try and steal third base to get there with less than 2 outs.
Outside, 1 ball, no strikes to Pence. Sac fly, a strikeout. In the air to left center field. Towering shot. Ibanez on the run. Will stay in the yard at the track. Makes the catch. It did stay in the yard. And Bourne goes to third. Off the bat, I wasn't sure if the wind would keep it in the yard.
Yeah, well, the one guy that was sure was Michael Bourne, because he was tagging up on that all the way. Usually you'll go halfway just so if that ball bounces off the wall, you're able to score. But he was in the position to tag up. Must have read that or must have heard the sound of that. Off the end. See that just a little bit. And he hits that ball almost out of here, right by that southwest side there.
Well, now Lee, who doubled his first time up, rounded out his last time up. And they're going after him on the inside corner. Lee thought it was high and in. He just said, wasn't that high?
You know, really surprised at his average. It usually has a better average than at 246. A guy accustomed to driving in 100 runs over the course of a year. He's done that several times. Not a very fast runner.
Well, here's a look at our Bloomberg stat of the night. It's Carlos Lee and his drop-off in home runs, Sarge. He had 37 in 2006. That's the white line. And he's got 16 right now. That's the bottom line, of course, 26 a year ago. It's that one to right. It'll stay in the yard. Jason Worth is over, under it, makes the catch, and the side is retired. Log on to BloombergSports.com to find out more information about your favorite ball player, your favorite Philly. Joe Blanton retires the side. Strands one at third. We go to the bottom of the sixth. Engineering by WB Mason. Who but WB Mason for amazingly low office product prices. And by Toyota. There are many reasons to buy a Toyota. And now's the perfect time to get yours during Toyota's National Clearance Event. Well, even on a cool night, the wind blowing in, Ashburn Alley is still abuzz. Another sellout here at the ballpark as Ryan Howard leads it off against Brett Myers here in the bottom of the sixth. Swing and a miss. $44,081 is the paid crowd for tonight.
Brett not leaving many balls out over the plate. He's had a pretty sharp breaking ball so far tonight. That he makes some mistakes out over the plate.
foul ball, and it's 2-2.
Curveball, you got to let it come to you in order to really drive that ball. And the key to that is picking up the spin of the ball as quickly as possible. You can determine whether or not it's a fastball or the breaking ball. Either one of the pitches, however, got to have slow feet, which will make your hands a lot quicker.
There's that breaking ball, and Howard is down on strikes for the third time tonight. 8 strikeouts for Myers. He's retired 5 in a row.
Yeah, it's surprising. He's able to get that in the spot that he is. Well, that hard breaking ball to any hitter like that is going to more than likely get him out. All you're trying to do, if you got 2 strikes, just foul that off. Look at the break on it, how it starts up. It kind of just comes right down. He's got a good curveball tonight.
Oh, with 1 away, here's Jason Worth. Jason and Ryan have struck out 5 times against Myers. Not this time for Jason Worth. In the air to left center field. That's well hit, and it's off the top of the wall. Michael Bourne plays it in. Carlos Lee is saying a fan interfered. Doesn't matter because Jason is in scoring position.
Yeah. Automatic double once that happens. Thought that he did touch it just because of the way that that ball went down. Now, if the fan doesn't touch it, he has a chance to maybe ricochet a little bit. Maybe he can get 3 bases.
Good point.
Take a look at it again there as it's going right out. You see how he comes right on over and hits it. Once that happens now, that ball just dies down. But once he sees you touch it, he's going to say, that's 2 anyway.
Yeah, as you said, Sarge, it could have hit that metal fence out there and maybe shot to the left of Bourne. Now, Bourne runs well. He could have tracked it down.
Yeah, but to run and be able to throw Jason Worth out at third base in that full motion, I would have liked to have seen that.
Ibanez is ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Now, the Astros would have had an issue if the umpire would have called a home run. Then Brad Mills may have come out and said, hey, I'd like you to look at that.
Oh, he wouldn't have had a choice. Yes, he would have. But that one was pretty easy to call. I mean, when you're out on that field and umpires are running out there, they can actually see that. If you take a look at Charlie Manager.
Oh, fouls it back. That was a pitch that was coming back over the plate. It's 2-2. And a trip to the mound by Quintero, chatting with Myers. Sarge, we were a little worried today when we came to the ballpark. We had heard that it was Kathy Pop, our video operator's birthday.
Yeah.
And we were a little concerned. Kathy, happy birthday. We were a little concerned because we weren't sure if her wonderful husband, Mike, had done anything to celebrate Kathy's birthday. Found out that he did take her out to dinner last night, took her to lunch today, so all is right in the world. Kathy, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Kathy.
Swing and a miss by Ibanez. 9 strikeouts for Myers.
There's that hard breaking ball again that he's throwing, and that ball, that looks like a fastball coming up there. Guys have been swinging over the top of it. Curveball you want to hit is the one that's up in the zone as you see tight break, breaking down and in.
Or Raul will get a drink before he gets ready to go back out to the outfield. You wonder if they're talking now about pitching around Ruiz.
Well, the way he's been hitting, wouldn't be surprised at that. They're asking whether or not they should put him on, and the answer is yes.
How about that? I mean, Carlos has been intentionally walked when, he's in the 8-hole. But here he's being intentionally walked for the 2nd consecutive day.
Well, for good reason. I mean, he's been locked in, and especially locked in with 2 outs. Now, this should give Valdez another wake-up call. No hitter wants a pitcher to walk that batter in front of you.
Like yesterday.
And just thinking that you're just a sure out.
Well, this is the reason why they walked Carlos Ruiz. And how about that? Jason Worth was lingering off the second base bag. And as Carlos's ball landed in the crowd, and we're showing you that, Jason Worth is called out at second base to finish off the 6th inning. He kind of fell asleep out there, as everybody else did too. But the Astros, after the intentional ball 4 to Carlos Ruiz, Quintero watched Worth turn his head, and Sanchez was hanging on the bag, and the side is retired. Well, a base running blunder for the Phils. We go to the 7th. Mistake out on the base paths to finish up the bottom of the 6th. As we begin the top of the 7th, Chris Johnson leads it off. Jason was on second when the Astros were intentionally walking Carlos Ruiz. He was a few steps off the bag.
And they had completed the intentional walk, huh?
They had completed the intentional walk, and Jason just turned his head and started walking back to second. And Angel Sanchez was just lingering around the bag. And Quintero quietly flipped a strike right to the bag. He must have seen something in previous pitches. Just like Jason last year saw something in the Dodgers when he stole home, when he read it beautifully on Russell Martin's toss back to the mound. Well, Quintero kind of did the same thing. Realized that Jason had turned his head and just fired a strike right to the bag. 2-2 the count to Chris Johnson. And it's outside. 3-2. Here's the play again.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. There it is. Okay, there's ball 4, and then as Tom says, Jason Worth just kind of ducked his head, and Quintero saw it, fired it down there, and got it.
Johnson goes down on strikes. 8 strikeouts for Joe Blanton. The 8 strikeouts for Joe ties his season high. He's done it 2 other times.
Yeah, he got through that first inning with some great defense, threw a breaking ball there, and gets a strikeout. And, he's been really good since the first inning, and they did a tremendous job keeping it to 1 run. His defense did. Guy thrown out at the plate. Great play by Jason Worth in right field.
Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
There are certain catchers who have a reputation where everyone would drop your head around him. Pudge Rodriguez was that way. He's still a little bit, but when he was younger, that was always the word around Major League Baseball. Do not duck your head when you're on base.
Benito Santiago.
He was another one. Could throw like that.
Tony Pena.
And they like to throw.
Yep. And Quintero did. A lot of times that throw isn't a strike to the bag. He threw it right to the bag. In the air to center field. Victorino had Wallace played perfectly. And there are 2 outs.
Time for the Verizon Wireless Game Summary. Great pitching tonight by Joe Blanton and Brett Myers. Phillies with the 2-run 3rd inning. Carlos Ruiz with a solo home run tied the game. Then Chase Utley gave them the lead they enjoy right now. Brett has struck out 9. His career high is 12 twice. And Joe Blanton, as Tom just said, has struck out 8. Only 1 walk in the game. And that's intentional.
Intentional walk, yep. Quintero takes a pitch inside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. The rain has picked up a little bit here at the ballpark. It's as if we're playing in London.
It's a misty rain. It's not pleasant either. It's chilly.
Now, these lucky fans of tonight's Citizens 7. They will each receive a poncho and a prize pack, courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. And Quintero is safe at first. That's a swing and bunt up the third base line. Ruiz did everything he could.
It was weird looking. I mean, he's even laughing about what happens. Is he trying to get out of the way of this? No, he was trying to bunt. Yeah, I thought he was trying to bunt it. And then the pitch almost hit him in the face right there. And he somehow gets it down and gets himself a base hit out of it.
Well, forget about a swing and bunt. That was a bunt.
Yeah. I thought for a split second there he was just trying to get out of the way of it. But he was trying to bunt. Not showing anybody in the on-deck circle at this point. Nobody up in the Astros bullpen. Myers due to bat next.
Chad Durbin's up in the Phillies bullpen.
Trying to get Joe Blanton through the 7th inning. That has been a little bit of a trouble for him sometimes. And so they're going to have a guy ready. As Tom mentioned, there's Durbin, just in case. And Brett just moved into the on-deck circle, did Myers.
Outside, 2-1 to Hernandez.
Trying to keep everything away from this guy all night, and especially at this point in the game. Raul Ibanez cheating over towards the line and left. They have Shane Victorino playing in left center. They figure he's going to hit it the other way.
Breaking ball, swung on and missed. It's a season-high 9 strikeouts for Joe Blanton. He strands a runner over at first here in the top of the 7th. After giving up the run in the first inning, he has settled down and has allowed nothing else since then. This breaking ball finishes up the top of the 7th. Quiz answer. Wheels in 1965. Harry Kalas joined the Astros broadcast team for their inaugural season. Can you name his 2 broadcast partners?
Yeah, I remember I was down there in 68. It said 67. All right. They had a corn pone guy who used to do a cowboy act. Say, you chuck him in there now, Larry. That was Lowell Pass.
Lowell Pass.
And the Hall of Famer, Gene Elston.
Yeah, those were the 2, Gene Elston and Lowell Pass. Log back on to Phillies.com. Find out if you're the winner of Phillies prize pack. And thanks for playing Dodge Stump the Fans.
Larry Dierker was there then. He said, now you chucking, Larry.
Larry Dierker, the last Astros pitcher to throw 6 innings or more in 26 consecutive starts. And that's exactly what Myers has done.
Yep. know if they're going to hit for him or not, but even if they had, he would have pitched 6 innings. Been very durable for them this year.
Valdez hits it in the air, shallow right center field. Pence calls everybody off. And one away. We mentioned that Larry Dierker had the franchise record, 26 consecutive starts from 69 to 70 with 6 innings or more. And Brett Myers just tied that record. Now, Brett has done it every start this year. Larry's record went from one season, part of one season, into another.
Right.
You know, there's a little bit of a difference, excuse me. You know, when they talk about streaks, a lot of times they'll use Brett Myers' streak, which is in one season, as the one that people will eventually attain to.
Well, you think he might have gotten blown out once. He had some games early in the year where he gave up a lot of hits early and then settled down. And lately he's done a really good job for them. Brad Arnsberg is out there to give him a little scouting report on Dominic Brown.
Dominic Brown batting for Joe Blatton. What a night for Joe Blatton. 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, no walks, and a season high 9 strikeouts. He was really good tonight. And it's 0-2 to Dominic Brown.
They did a really good job. Was in trouble just a couple of times in the first inning. The defense did a great job to keep that to 1 run, and then he did the job the rest of the way.
Dominic fights off a curve. 9 strikeouts for Blatt as Myers hits 100 pitches. First time since September of last year that he did it. That he has done it. It was against the Florida Marlins.
Tried to backdoor him with a hook there and just missed. So Quintero come firing out of there. He's ready to throw it around the diamond.
Dominic stays alive. Another foul ball.
Steady variety of curveballs in this at bat. I guess that's what Brad Arnsberg went out there and talked to them about. Dominic Brown is the kind of guy, you know, they don't want to throw him fastball necessarily, but you throw it low to him and he times it. See ya. He can hit that low pitch.
And he hit it right there. That one was a little more up, but still he put a pretty good stroke on it. A fastball at 91. And it's a pitch hit signal.
Yeah, that may have been the first fastball he threw him in that at bat, and he hit it hard.
Hey, the Florida Marlins will be in town in September for a 4-game series in 3 days. A day-night doubleheader on Monday the 6th. 105 and 705. The night game is a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night. And then a couple of games Tuesday and Wednesday at 7:05. How about the Marlins? Just let the San Francisco Giants take Cody Ross, and I have to pay him for the rest of this year and next year.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good pickup by the Giants.
Great pickup. You know, we were talking about Aaron Rowan not getting much playing time when they were here. Boy, now it really goes down. And that basically is, you know, the Florida Marlins saying, well, we're not going to win this year. They let Cody Ross just go like that.
You would think that, well, I don't know. I mean, they understand what the market is, but you would have thought they could have acquired something for him. But sometimes
pull him back,
yeah,
you know, and then negotiate or something. And I don't know.
There's Tim Burdack loosening up in the pen.
They have 3 left-handers out there.
Jimmy went fishing, and it's 0-2.
Brett's had him chasing some pitches out of the strike zone tonight. Up. Popped up last time on a high fastball.
He's starting to throw a lot more breaking pitches. The Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Cubs, without Lou Piniella and Mike Quaddy as their manager, are shutting out the Nationals 7-0 in the top of the 5th.
It was all Lou's fault.
He was really emotional after the game yesterday. I think one of his biggest statements when somebody asked him about his retirement, he said it's finally sinking in that he's never going to wear a baseball uniform again.
Yeah, and he may mean it this time.
Line drive, base hit for Jimmy Rollins. Dominic Brown did a really nice job holding it up, making sure that that ball got past Anderson Hernandez.
Yeah, nice job by Jimmy to be patient, too. Brett Myers throwing him a lot of off-speed stuff and that at bat. It looked like he hit a changeup. Let's see if we can. Well, it's tough to see there. But I think it was a changeup. You can see it was slow, and he waited back. And as Tom said, very good base running there by Dominic Brown. Plays right in front of you. Don't get double. Here it is. Yeah, it's a changeup, and it was up and out over the plate a little bit.
Phillies have something going here with one away, and Victorino at the plate. He's 0 for 3. And really good speed on the base paths, which means a gapper should score 2.
Think about throwing that wet ball, too. That's in Sam Perlazzo's mind. The outfielders are going to get a bar of soap out there. Can't help it. The amount of misty rain we've had in the last few innings. Steady variety of slow stuff.
It's more, though, the last few innings, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean to Victorino.
Yeah.
Because, Brett knows that he wants to hit a fastball no matter what. And he threw some fastballs, but, his fastball was, after Ruiz hit one out, he really was spotting it after that. But he's used it for his other pitches.
Nearly got the front of Victorino's jersey. And it's 2-2.
He's used his slider tonight to left-handed hitters. We mentioned it earlier. He struck out somebody early in the game on backdoor breaking balls, a left-handed hitter, and I think he liked that. And so he's been using that quite a bit. And a curveball too, but his slider, he's been trying to backdoor him with it. Another one, the breaking ball there. For him to throw a fastball to Victorino would be a shock. Although he may have to right now. We'll see if he gives in. 3-2. Chase Utley on deck. You don't want to walk him and load him. Although they get the left-hander ready. So I would think he'll throw off speed here.
3-2 the count. Runners don't go. And a number foul.
Change up. And that's what I mean. He really doesn't have to challenge him here, because if he walks him, they're going to make a change with the 2 left-handed hitters coming up. So Brett knows he does not have to give in here with a fastball, and he hasn't thrown one to him in this at bat anyway.
Back toward the middle, that could be 2. Hernandez flips to second for 1, over to first, a 4-6-3 double play.
Fastball.
He got a fastball and he hit it hard, but right at Anderson Hernandez. The side is retired. Ryan Madson is going to be in the ballgame for Joe Blanton when we return. Well, it's 2-1 Phillies, as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Here in Philadelphia, Ryan Matson is the new pitcher for the Phils. He'll take over for Joe Blanton, who went 7 innings, allowed 6 hits and a run. 33rd game for Ryan, 4-1 with a 3.13 earned run average. So Joe Blanton's night is done. We knew that when Dominic Brown came up as a pinch hitter. And the night for Brett Myers is done because Jason Michaels is about to pinch hit for the Astros. So it's in the hands of the bullpen as we go to the 8th.
Both bullpens now, because as Tom said, Jason Michaels is going to hit for Brett Myers. His night is over. Both the starters pitched very well here tonight.
Michaels overall hitting .250 with 7 home runs, former Phil. He had a couple of very good seasons for the Phillies, platooning out in center field. One year he platooned with Kenny Lofton. Well, those guys are a pretty good combination.
He's a good extra man. Pinch hit. He's got some power.
73 career pinch hits. Matt Stairs hit another pinch hit home run the other day. And I think that set a new record for pinch hit home runs in Major League Baseball. He's sort of been revitalized out in San Diego. And we'll see him next week. Check swing by Michaels. They appeal. No swing, says Greg Gibson. Chris Johnson, he was called out on a check swing earlier tonight, and he was honked about it. He was not happy. Greg did not use the same judgment on Jason Michaels' pitch with the count 1-1. And now it's 3-1 to Michaels. Good changeup. Confidence with the count 3-1 to throw it.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why Ryan Matz has been so effective, because he doesn't give in with a fastball all the time.
Opposite way, base hit it to right field for Michaels. So a leadoff single for J. Mike to begin this 8th. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Acura. Acura Advance. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now. By Southwest Airlines. Want to see what a real airline is like? Go to southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. And by your local Dodge dealers.
Be careful now. See if they bunt for a tie here in the 8th inning. But with Michael Bourne, if he bunts, you got to go get it. And not think about anything except throwing him out at first base, because if you don't, be first and second, nobody out.
Well, he has 27 infield hits this year, and he can bunt. Up the first base line, Ryan realizes that, runs after him, and no, he missed him. Greg Gibson is saying he missed him. And here comes Charlie Manuel.
The home plate umpire, too, has a real good look at that if they want to talk about it.
Chase is going over to the grass and saying, look, he ran all the way over there. He's out of the baseline.
Look at Scott Barry standing there as if to say, you want to talk to me? Feel free. And that's all Charlie's saying right now.
There's the divot.
Yeah, there's the divot. It's like, go talk to the other guy.
I believe the rule says 3 feet. He's allowed 3 feet outside the base line. I think he was more than 3 feet outside the base line. Don't you?
Yeah. I mean, we see what the divot is.
Look at Chase. Chase is still pointing to the grass. And now Charlie's pointing to the grass. Greg Gibson doesn't seem to mind.
He's saying at the point where he avoided the tag, and then maybe he made the divot after the tag.
Yeah, maybe.
All he wants him to do is ask the other guy.
He's not going to ask him, though. Well, that's a big play because it puts 2 runners on with nobody out here at the top of the 8th.
Well, see what you can see here. Talking about Michael Bourne, what a great bunter he is, and with that speed. See, Charlie Ryan Howard's trying to get to him. Now, he misses him at that point, and there's where he makes the divot after he had gone by him, and I think that's what he was saying to him. That at the point where he went around him, he was still on the baseline. Of course, Charlie got thrown out. You could hear the crowd roar there at the end, during that replay.
And now Charlie's talking to Sam Holbrook, and he's probably saying the same thing to Sam Holbrook. Chase Utley's taking up the argument with Greg Gibson. Well, Greg Gibson must be, laying out a different rule as to why he's not out for going out of the base path.
Well, here you go right here. At that point now he goes and his foot hits the grass.
He's not 3 feet away from that tag right there. But
here's
there
where the divot comes up.
But he's already passed it.
Yeah, he's passed. That's what I was saying. I think that's what Gibson, I'm trying to read his lips, and I think that's what he was saying.
He's already passed it.
He had already passed it. Crew chief came over from third base, Sam Holbrook, to try and get Charlie off the field.
Right there is where Greg Gibson hurt it up, and he threw Charlie out.
Well, they might bunt with this guy.
I would think they're going to.
With
Angel Sanchez. So runners on first and second.
A little surprised he didn't ask Scott Barry, because Barry just kept standing there like, well, I'll talk to you if you want, and maybe I'll back you up.
Sanchez squares, stabs at it, but pulls the bat back before the ball crosses the plate. It's 1-0.
They have their best hitter, Hunter Pence, coming up, and then they have a very good RBI man in Carlos Lee. So that's why you would think they would bunt here.
And now Sam Holbrook is walking down the third base line. I don't think Charlie's left the dugout yet. Valdez in on the grass at third. Howard on the grass at first. And he bunts it toward third. Valdez charges, makes the play over to first, one away. Sacrifice is successful, and they're two in scoring position.
Now they have to decide whether they want to walk Pence and hope they get Lee to hit into a double play, and they may do that. But then again, a ground ball here, they can play the infield back. It's still a tie game, and you're at home in the 8th inning.
Pete looked like he just said no. Carlos was looking and asking. Now Rich Doobie's going to come out to the mound to talk to Ryan Matson and everybody else about the scouting report.
Yeah, and they're also going to talk about right now whether or not they would walk him here and why not, and what they're going to do. Of course, they're going to play the infield back because you have the lead. See, if you're on the road, it's a no-brainer. You're in the 8th inning, you're trailing. If you're the team, you're going to have to play the infield in if you're the road team on defense. But at home, play him back.
Hey, host your next corporate or social event at Citizens Bank Park. The ballpark offers a variety of unique spaces and on-site catering available year-round. Take advantage of all the ballpark has to offer: tours, message board usage. Call 215-218-5100 or log on to Phillies.com/special events for more information. So the infield is back for Hunter Pence. They're not going to walk him intentionally. We'll see how they pitch him with runners on second and third. And on the outside corner with a fastball. The rain is let up. It is still misty out there, but the ball is going to be slick.
That was a very good bunt that Sanchez just put down. He made Valdez field it. So what you want to do is make the third baseman field the bunt with runners at first and second like that.
If Valdez nearly backed off and then realized that Ryan Matson wasn't going to get over there.
He may be trying to see if he'll go fishing here. He made a perfect pitch to him on the first pitch. That one's way outside. Pence is very aggressive.
Michaels is on third. Bourne's on second. Try to get him to go after a changeup, but it's 2-1.
Pence is he's been around a while now, and you can tell he's smart. He knows that they may not be challenging him right now, and he's going to try not to get himself out. And that's what the Phillies are trying to do. That was a strike, but it was going to be right on the outside corner again.
Pence has gone down on strikes this year 78 times. He chokes up on the bat.
You don't see that much anymore.
Particularly for a guy that is kind of a run producer like Hunter Pence. And now a meeting at the mound between Ruiz and Madsen.
Well, they've got. If it was in fact an idea to pitch around, they've gotten to the point now where maybe they can get him to chase.
There's Carlos Lee. He's on deck. Phillies have won 22 of their last 29 games. Trying to make it 23 of 30. And he got him. He went chasing after a high fastball. 2 away.
Well, that was a great job. Go out there and talk about it. Come up with a pitch that you think is not going to be a strike, but maybe he'll chase. And it was not a changeup. As Tom says, it's a high fastball right there. You see Carlos set up for it. And Hunter Pence gets himself out. Nice job by Ruiz and Madsen to handle that situation.
Well, another tough hitter now in Carlos Lee, who doubled earlier in the game. 2 away here in the top of the 8th. And he broke his bat and he loops it into left. It's a base hit, and the Astros are going to take the lead. A 2-run single for Lee, and it's 3-2 Houston. And the Phillies are going to have to play from behind.
Well, they decide to pitch to him there, and he's a very good RBI man. But Johnson, the guy coming up afterwards, is a hot hitter too. And he made a great pitch on him. What are you going to do? I mean, he runs it right in on him, and Carlos Lee breaks his bat. Michael Bourne in second. You know they're going to take the lead.
And a pinch runner now for Carlos Lee. Jason Bourgeois is going to pitch run. For years I thought it was Bourgeois.
Yeah, we tried to find out for sure today. It's Bourgeois.
So Lee with 2 RBIs. Congratulated in the dugout. Here's Chris Johnson. And a throw over. It's only the second and third runs allowed by Ryan his last 18 innings. He's been really good. Back toward the middle. Jimmy ranges to his left. He's got it, has time, and the side is retired. A 2-run single for Carlos Lee has given the Astros the lead 3-2. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It'll be Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and Jason Worth for the Phillies. Jason Michaels stays in the ballgame to play left field for the Astros as we go to the bottom of the 8th. That means that Tim Burdack will bat 4th for Houston. 47th game for Burdack. 2-1, a 3.82 ERA. Lefties are hitting .241 against him. That's pretty good, but for a quote-unquote lefty specialist, that number's usually lower. Burdack is part of an Astros bullpen that has been changing a lot during the course of this season. In fact, their closer, Matt Lindstrom, is on the disabled list with a bad back. So he's on here to face Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and then Jason Worth. So the Phillies will have to come from behind. They trail at 3-2. Burdack features a fastball that tops off at 91 miles per hour. But his out pitch, he has 2 of them, slider and changeup. Get a base runner, you can run against him despite the fact that he's left-handed. Chase leads it off. He's 1 for 3 tonight. An RBI single against Brett Myers earlier. Myers and Joe Blanton both pitched very well tonight. Myers 7 innings, 2 runs, 9 hits. Blanton 7 innings, 1 run, 6 hits. Both finished with 9 strikeouts.
Well, the Phillies go left, left, right, and they have Lopez, the right-hander, up for Worth.
And he's been red hot.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to run 27 of his last 28 appearances. Chase got a fastball and he fouled it back. It's 1-2. Here's Lopez. Lopez has a 19 2/3 inning scoreless streak. And Brad Lidge, who's pitched very effectively, looks like he's going to wind up pitching the top of the 9th. He's hoping for a lead. 2-2 the count to Chase. Cardinals are winning. The Braves have really just begun against Colorado. Giants will play later on against the Reds. Laid off. He checked his swing. They appeal. No swing. So Sam Holbrook. It's 3-2.
Good job by Chase to stay off that 3-2 or that 2-2 frisbee there.
That was a wicked pitch.
Yeah, that's why this guy's numbers are so good against left-handed hitters. You see that breaking ball. I mean, that's a pull-off breaking ball he's throwing.
Chopped it right side. Anderson Hernandez charges, throws, and he just gets Utley. Hernandez laid back on it. I don't know if he realized that Utley was busting it like he usually does up the first base line.
Yeah, he tops breaking ball right there. He's trying to read the hop is what he was doing, so he laid back a little bit and almost got burned. He's trying not to get caught in between, it looked like there, and he almost did anyway.
Well, here's Ryan Howard, 1 for 7 against Burdack in his career, 0 for 3 tonight with 3 strikeouts.
Brett Myers wore him out with that breaking ball tonight. Brett threw a lot of really good curveballs to Ryan Howard.
Ryan with 41 runs batted in his last 40 games here at Citizens Bank Park. And he flipped that one foul, and it's 1-1.
Myers is a pitcher record right now for the Astros.
Right, because they scored the runs before a new pitcher came in. He's trying to break that tie with Jamie Moyer.
Well, he got a fastball. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of fastballs from Burdick to these left-handed hitters.
Two and two, the count to Ryan. In the air to left center field. Pretty well hit, but it's going to stay in the yard. Sounded like he may have gotten it toward the end of the bat. And Jason Michaels makes the catch for the second out. He's getting closer. Let's see if they're going to go the right hander or not.
Yeah, he doesn't get this. Tom said it looked like, yeah, it's right off the end of the bat. He got it up in the air, and the wind's still blowing out a lot to left field, so that helped pick it up a little bit. Hit it out to one of the deeper parts of the ballpark, out towards the 374. He right there. It's down near the end. It's off the, not on the end of the bat, but it's not on the barrel either.
Well, Brad Mills and Brad Arnsberg have decided to stay with the Burdick with Jason Worth at the plate. Jason's 1 for 3. He doubled his last time up, but was picked off at second.
Well, their feeling on this is that they can go ahead run as a left-handed hitter with power, and that's Ibanez. So they're taking their chances here. The Worth doesn't hit the ball out of the ballpark, and if he does, it's a tie game.
So if either Chase or Ryan had gone on, maybe they'd go to the right-hander?
I think he may have. If there were a base runner right now, he probably would go the right-hander because he would represent the go-ahead run.
Jason with 1 home run against left-handers this year. 1 of his 16. Just trying to get on. And it's 2-1. He certainly has a good eye. In fact, since the All-Star break, Jason has a .448 on-base percentage, and he has been among the top 5 in the National League since the All-Star break in that category. To the count. Ibanez waits on deck. Hit toward the hole, a base hit for Jason. Second hit of the night.
Well, they were guarding the line there. So with the third baseman Johnson on the line, that ball's an out early in the game. But that's what you do there. You give it up because you don't want to have an extra base hit there to tie the game.
And I was watching an interview that Tom Verducci did with Joe Madden, manager of the Tampa Bay Rays, and he hates the corners being over toward the line late in the game.
Yeah, it's
really interesting to listen to his theories on it.
It's a feel, whether or not you like it or not. In that case, if it's a double, then the potential tying runs in second. But here's why they left Burdick in the game, because now they kept Worth in the ballpark, which they hoped they could do, and now they have a left-hander to go against a guy with power, a left-handed hitter.
Burdick's allowed 13 hits to lefties this year in 56 at-bats.
But this is his last hitter.
Carlos Ruiz, a right-handed batter, waits on deck. You see Raul's numbers against lefties. His homers are down. There's Lopez.
What have you done for me lately? Huh? Getting on Worth for getting back to first. Tough town.
Shallow center field. Michael Bourne comes gliding in, makes the catch, and the side is retired. So Burdack gets through the 8th. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left for the Phillies. We go to the 9th with the Astros on top 3-2. A Labor Day day-night doubleheader against the Florida Marlins. Game 1 starts at 1:05. That's the rescheduled game from the 9th of June. It lists on your ticket stub as number 29. Game 2 starts at 7:05. That's number 70 on your ticket stub. That's a Hatfield Phillies Frank Dollar Dog Night. Tickets remain for both ball games. Go to Phillies.com or call 215-463-1000. Top of the 9th, Phillies trail at 3-2. And Brad Lidge is on to try to keep this a 1-run deficit. 33rd game for Brad. Brad has not given up a run in his last 8 appearances. He's 7 for 7 in save opportunities during that time. So as he gets ready to pitch against his former team, you see Lidge with 123 career saves for Houston, 3rd most. Dave Smith, he was a good one. And Billy Wagner, of course, with 225. Joe Sambito, 72 saves for the Astros.
Joe Sambito, he later became a player agent. I don't know what he's doing now. Lived in the Tampa Bay area.
Wallace leads it off and takes a slider for a strike.
Dave Smith tragically died a year or 2 ago. The guy that was number 2 on that list had a great changeup. Pitch against the Phillies in a tremendous playoff series in '80.
Toward left field, not deep. Ibanez comes in. And he makes the catch. What away.
Try to hold it to 1. Take your chances. Probably be Lyon.
He's out there warming up right now.
He's been their closer when Lindstrom, after Lindstrom isn't available. They signed Lyon to be the setup guy. He's a veteran. The guy's been around, pitched a lot of innings.
There's Humberto Quintero with 1 away. He backs away from a slider, and it's 1-0. Opposite way, caught by Ryan Howard, diving to the glove side. Well, it's not the hot corner, but you need to have some hot reactions on plays like that.
Yeah, especially a right-handed hitter hits it off the end of the, not off the end of the bat, but rips one like that. It's slicing a little bit, but you don't have much time to react, as Tom said, and he did. Nice play. Playing way off the bag there for the right-handed hitter.
2 away now for Anderson Hernandez. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Well, that's a good slider right there. It was coming in waist high, and then bam, at the last minute it rolls down.
Well, that's the one that he has. It's a good one when it's on the plate, and then they swing at it, and it's gone by the time they come through the hitting area.
And he comes back with a fastball that is at 91, but in a pretty good spot. That's 0-2. Bottom of the ninth, the Phillies have Ruiz, Valdez in the pitcher's spot due up. May get 2 pinch hitters during that inning for Valdez and that pitcher spot. Toward the hole, diving stop. Jimmy up quickly, throws fast, not in time. Boy, Jimmy got to that quick, jumped up really fast, and nearly got him. And Jason Michaels will bat for the second time. He had a big at bat his last time up when he pinch hit.
Here it is. And Anderson Hernandez, not a great runner, but still pretty good. And coming out of the box left-handed. Not much of a chance for Jimmy Rollins to get him, but, you know, he's going to try. He's going to throw it over there in the vicinity. Maybe Hernandez doesn't get out of the box. And he made that really close.
He sure did. He got up and through very quickly.
Yeah, he was a great pop-up on that one. Lidge trying to be a little bit better with runners on base this year. You know, and that does not have a great move over to first, as you can see there. But even if you just throw over once in a while, let them know you're thinking about them, it can help.
There he goes. Slider take it outside. Ruiz throws from his knees, and really no chance.
Yeah, you figured they were going to run because Hernandez can run a little bit. And, you know, Lidge is a guy you can run on because he's slow to the plate. There it is. Got a great jump. You see Brad's one of those guys that rocks back. And odds are you're going to steal bags on him.
Well, the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Carlos Gonzalez has given the Rockies a 1-0 lead. They're still batting in the third against Tim Hudson. Tried to check his swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Well, it was a strike anyway. It's 3-1.
Michael's got a 3-0 slider there, and he was swinging 3-0 fastball. And he swung at it. He knew it. Well, he thought, well, what the heck, I'm already en route.
Yeah, let me sell this a little bit.
All right. Why not? Here you go, 3-0 green light. He doesn't check. He knows it. Keep your head down, but you got to look up sooner or later, and he got me.
Another slider. Frozen. 3-2. What the heck? You figure he's going to come back with another one here. And he got him. Called strike 3. 3 straight sliders to Michaels, 3 straight strikes with the count 3-0, and the side is retired. No runs, a hit, 1 man left in scoring position. One last chance for the Phillies as we go to the bottom of the ninth. Brad Lidge has pitched the Phils into an opportunity when we come back. On the Comcast network, and Phillies coverage on Comcast Sportsnet continues Wednesday when Roy Halladay takes on Jay Happ as the Phils and the Astros continue this 4-game series. Coverage begins with Phillies pregame live. That's Wednesday night at 6:30 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Well, bottom of the 9th inning, you see the line score. Phillies led it 2-1 all the way until the 8th when the Astros scored 2 to take a 3-2 lead. So last chance for the Phillies. It's Ruiz, Valdez, and then a pinch hitter for Brad Lidge against Brandon Lyon, who has one blown save this year, and it came against the Phillies back in April. He's taken over the closer's role for the injured Matt Lindstrom, who's on the DL with a bad back. He's converted his last 6 save opportunities, and Ruiz leads it off against him.
And they'll guard the line just like last inning with the third baseman Johnson. So it's a big hole on the left side to shoot a ball through, as you see right there. You know, maybe get an inning started.
Well, and Carlos has used that hole a few times over the last couple of weeks. And he's ahead 2-0.
Well, this is a guy who pitches away for the most part. And you know, which is what you want your relief pitcher to do in these spots late in the game, because you don't want to give up a home run. But you can look away from Lyon, especially right-handed hitters. 3 straight away.
Pete Buchanan has the lineup card. Charlie was ejected earlier in the ball game. And he takes the 3-0 for strike, which, as you saw, those numbers is usually the case with Carlos. Carlos has a home run tonight, reached on a fielder's choice, intentionally walked in the 6th.
He don't want to get himself out here now. He still has a pitch to play with.
They're going to work him away again. Outside, ball 4. The tying run is aboard.
That was a really good at bat. That's just looking at scouting reports, understanding this guy's going to try and get you out away, and he did a very good job. Now, they used up Dominic Brown as a pinch hitter early.
Think they'll pitch run for Ruiz?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking.
Pete Buchanan is up off the chair.
Yep. There's your answer.
Carlos is walking off the first base bag. Ben Francisco is going to pinch run. Ben's going to like seeing Ruiz get taken out of the ballgame. Placido Polanco is in the on-deck circle.
See if they bunt here. Bunt for the tie at home sometimes.
Valdez is a very good bunter.
Johnson ready to charge from third.
At a toss over to first, Valdez does not tip his hand.
Yeah, they're playing the third baseman way over near the line, but also on the grass ready to charge.
Valdez bumps it in the air, and it's caught by Wallace. He was trying to push it over toward first and got the bat in the wrong spot. 1 away.
Trying to make the first baseman field it.
Now Polanco will pinch hit.
See right here, you see where he's guiding it towards first, trying to make the first baseman field it. He got a slider there, or a cutter, something that broke away, and he just pops it up. An easy play for Wallace.
So Polanco will pitch hit for Lidge. Paulie's numbers against the Astros this year in that series early on. 6 for 13 with a couple RBIs. Phillies with 7 walk-off wins, game-winning hits. In the bottom of an inning. Whether it be the bottom of the 9th or the bottom of an inning, an extra phrase. Mike Sweeney's waiting to see if he gets a chance. And Polanco's late on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. And it's 0-2. Carlos Ruiz had the last walk-off win. That was on August 12th against the Dodgers. There was a 2-run double that just kept on carrying. So in that game, the Phillies scored 3 in the 8th. And then won it in the 9th against Los Angeles.
San Francisco has a pinch runner, is not a base stealer. So no attempt, not even an attempt so far to do it. You know, you wish you could put a guy out there who's a base stealer. You know, like they had Bourgeois out there who was able to steal the bag. But, you know, he's out there because he's quicker than Ruiz.
In the air to left center field. It'll hang up there for Bourne. Speaking of base runners or pinch runners that Charlie has used in the past. 2 outs. So Polanco's retired, and it's down to Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy, well, he's had the ability to win a game before for the Phillies this year. So they come through again.
Well, this guy, we'll see if he stays away from Jimmy Rollins, because you've seen how he likes to pitch away to right-handed batters, and he likes to throw cutters. And you throw a cutter in the wrong spot to a left-handed hitter like Rollins, could have a happy ending for the Phillies. Way. You'd just be surprised if he gives him anything middle in, unless it's a mistake.
Astros 12-7 at this ballpark. The best winning percentage of anybody in the National League, surprisingly. Francisco goes. Pitch is taken outside. The throw by Quintero. Ooh. Not in time.
Man, better make it.
Crashing into second. Now he's in scoring position. Wow.
Great job by Francisco and Davey Lopes over there to decide to finally go. As I mentioned, he's not necessarily a base stealer. And Davey's got that calm look, but, you know, his stomach had to be churning a little bit because you have to make it here, and that is close. Don't want the game to end with the bat on Jimmy Rollins' shoulder walking back to the dugout, and he almost overslid. He managed to keep that back foot on.
Phillies are 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position tonight. They've stranded 7.
That's good throwers in that outfield. Pence is really cheating in and right.
A breaking ball that gets the outside corner. Here's one of Jimmy's walk-offs. June 23rd. Kerry Wood. Jimmy just returned from the disabled list. And what a return.
Right now, they like a base hit. Tie this up. Keep it going.
Toward left field. Coming on. Jason Michael. Still coming on. Makes the catch. And the ball game is over. The Astros have won their 13th game at Citizens Bank Park in the 20 that they have played, as they come from behind and take this one by a final score of 3-2. And Michael Bourne's turned himself into a very good major league player, and he is our Chevrolet player of the game. 3 for 4, 2 steals, 2 runs, and a bunt play that turned out to be a base hit that helped lead to the 2-run inning for the Astros. Oh, our W.B. Mason delivery of the ball game. It was the game winner off the bat of Carlos Lee, and it was a pretty good pitch by Ryan Matson.
Well, they decided not to walk him here. They're going to pitch to him. The base was open, and he hits it off the end of the bat. He breaks it, and the 2-run score. You know, they had a chance. They had an option there whether or not to go after him or one of the hottest hitters in the league, and Johnson decided on Carlos Lee. And that's our W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
So the Astros win it by a final of 3-2. So they take game 1 of this 4-game series. We'll be back in just a moment to talk about it.